Let's review Diablo 3, created by Blizzard Entertainment in 2012. I will be reviewing the Nintendo Switch port, which includes the expansions. Diablo was arguably the most influential pioneer in the history of dungeon-crawling action games, with its convincing dark fantasy atmosphere, addictive gameplay, and deep progression system. Blizzard Entertainment, the mastermind behind Diablo, is well known for their quality graphics, excellent lore, balanced gameplay, and general attention to detail. All these positive elements continue to shine in their Diablo 3 installment. The game looks amazing even for today's standards, plays amazing, and has enough replayability for hundreds of hours. This game includes a solid multiplayer system and a great local co-op mode. However, the gameplay seems too subdued for my tastes, as if they were afraid of offending the casual gamer. Most of the game feels like on autopilot, which is great if you enjoy zoning out, or if you want to invite your roommate who has never played games before. Granted, there are a plethora of difficulty settings to suit your taste, but if you're looking for something more involved, you might be disappointed. Diablo 3 has a fixed top-down camera angle inspired by isometric games. At the core of the game is slashing your way through hordes of demons, collecting loot, and getting stronger. In this sense, it's not too far off from an MMO. When starting the game, you choose your class, which affects the way you play and the skills you have access to. You get stronger by leveling up, which unlocks new skills. At the beginning, you only have access to one skill, but by the end, you have access to dozens of passive and active skills, which are mappable to the face buttons and the 2 triggers. Most of these skills cost mana to use and might have a cooldown. As you gain higher levels, you get more skills to swap and customize your playstyle. One of the most rewarding things in Diablo is getting stronger. Your character has many equipment slots, which mean that there is a lot of gear you can use. Both enemies and equipment have level and rarity. The rarity system is color-coded, with white being normal, blue being magic, yellow being rare, and orange being legendary. Mini-bosses are scattered around the dungeons, and they help break the monotony by spawning damage zones with different patterns, some erupting under you, while others are like a tornado or even a rotating laser. Rarer enemies tend to drop rarer gear. Rarer gear have random bonus attributes, such as bonus strength. The rarer the gear, the more bonus attributes and the higher stat numbers. The level of the gear has a very strong influence on the stats, so that a higher level common gear is still better than the lower level legendary gear. There are other events that help break the monotony, such as double damage runes, treasure goblins, and cursed chests. There are also a lot of optional dungeons and locations you can explore. The base story in this expanded game is made up of 5 acts. Some of the best CGI cutscenes ever made are in between each act. Most of the story is told in a way that's optional. You can speak to NPCs in town if you wish. You can also find secret books hidden around the world that are diaries of sort, and unlock a voice clip containing more lore. Once in a while, your allies will have a dialogue with you while you're busy slicing enemies. The story and voice acting are good, but I believe the story should not be the reason you play this game. The zoomed-out isometric camera keeps us from seeing the characters' facial expressions, so we don't feel personally connected. An interesting note is that the dialogue can change depending on the character class you play as. After completing the main story, we are invited to replay the game at a higher difficulty while carrying over our character and equipment. With the higher difficulty, you get better experience and better loot drops. Unfortunately, I didn't get to experience the multiplayer because I didn't subscribe to Nintendo services, nor do I have a friend to couch co-op with. I don't regret getting the Nintendo Switch version, because the portability was surprisingly useful. Even though the atmosphere and scene is horrific with plenty of dead bodies and blood, the zoomed-out camera makes the game less scary. I played through this game as a crusader. Trying out the different classes and skill builds could be quite the rabbit hole to sink your teeth into if that is your thing. The core combat is solid, and the balance and pacing seems good. However, the battle seems pretty repetitive and uneventful. I've played many MMOs with bland battle systems, but this battle seems almost too smooth, too streamlined. The most eventful part of the battle is me dodging the area of effects and projectile patterns of the mini-bosses and bosses. I guess you're supposed to feel excitement when a legendary drops, but it didn't give me the hot sweats like getting a rare loot in an MMO. The replayability is nice, but I didn't feel an itch to replay it past the story. Strangely, I enjoyed a similar game called Dungeon Siege 3 more than Diablo 3. Sure, Dungeon Siege 3 had fewer playable characters, fewer skills, and less content, but the battle system is much more involved, skill-oriented, and strategic, and the enemies are more varied and engaging. For Diablo 3, the polish and production values are very good. Everything else is decent but not outstanding. I feel I cannot properly rate this game without experiencing the multiplayer, but I will rate it based on the solo experience. Dadozy Gaming gives this solo experience an 8.5 out of 10. It's quite fun, and it is worth a try if you don't mind a dark fantasy setting with blood and gore. Thanks for watching, and happy gaming.